we need to have a talk. What is going on right now? There is a viral trend going around of people making their very first whole cloth quilt. I mean, it's technically a quilt, but no piecing whatsoever. At first, I was kind of like, no. Do we really need to make it that simple? Do we really need to take the patchwork right out of the scenario? But you know what? I'm open to the conversation. Maybe people just need to see that something so achievable that they have no excuse not to give quilting a try. Hey, I'm Brandy, the Quilter on Fire. I'm a quilt teacher, speaker, and judge, and the author of children's picture book, Christie's Quilt. Quilt along with me today as I make the easiest possible quilt you've ever made and I've ever made in my life. Come on, it'll be fun. Before we get started, you can find all of my Quilt Along With Me videos in their very own playlist right here on the Quilter on Fire YouTube channel. So please subscribe. This is the fastest project possible. It's a whole cloth quilt. So I have 2 different fabrics that coordinate that I love. And I also need some thread. So I have a 50 weight cotton, a nice variegated thread that goes with both. That's pretty much all you need. Oh, and for this fabric, I have about 2 meters, so I'll use some of this for the binding. Oh, and before we get started, here's another product that will come in really handy if you want to spray baste your quilt together before we start quilting it. This is a temporary fabric adhesive. There's all kinds of brands. This is Perfect Based. There's 505. There's all kinds of brands you can buy, but this is a great way to hold your quilt together before we get quilting. Go to the comments and tell me, do you like to pre-wash or do you like that crinkle effect by washing your quilt for the first time after it's complete? Okay, I've got 2 pieces of fabric that are about 32 by 42. You could literally do them any size you want. Just make sure you have enough batting to fit inside. So first things first, let's get started by pressing all the fabric. If you have a stubborn line in your fabric, a big crease like this, go ahead and spritz it with some water. There's all kinds of products out there. If you don't have any of these, water will do just fine. If you're wondering what is this cute little iron Brandy's using, this is the Oliso M3 Pro Project Iron. I love this iron, and if you're only going to have 1 iron in your sewing room, this is the one to get. It's small, it's versatile, and it has the power of a big iron. And remember, if you use someone's link, an affiliate link, it just supports them as a creator. It's no extra cost to you. You'll find a link to the Oliso M3 Pro Project Iron in the show notes. I don't have a lot of floor space in my house to just lay out a quilt, so I'm working on the wall. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure that we have the fabric, the batting, and the backing, and both of the fabrics will have right sides out. So the batting will only be touching the wrong sides of the fabric. So when we look at both sides of the quilt, the pretty side of the fabric will always be on the outside. So let's get going. Now let those layers dry for about an hour and we're ready to quilt. It's hard to see when it's on the wall here, but this is a directional fabric. So there's sort of a woven print on here, and I'll be able to stitch straight down one way, all the way, starting in the center and going out. I'm just going to do vertical lines on the entire quilt. It's going to be so easy. I'll have it done in no time. Now that I have it rolled on both sides, I'll just stitch right down the middle and continue on from there. Now we'll go trim the edges and add the binding. So now that I've squared up my quilt, I need to prepare the binding. So these are 2.5-inch strips. I've cut 4 strips to go around the entire quilt. Now I need to join these together. So normally you want to join right sides together. So you put one this way, right sides together, the second one this way. So they're absolutely perpendicular. And then you turn it on an angle and you sew from corner to corner. So once you've sewn from corner to corner, then you cut off this part about 1/4 inch away from your stitching line. You can do this with a rotary cutter. Now the trick here is you want all the seams to be on the same side. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this all the way through. So the right side's up. Then we're going to take our next fabric and we're going to line it up again. And do the same thing till all 4 pieces are joined together. Now we'll go and press all these seams, and we're going to press our binding, press this open, and then we'll put the wrong sides together and press our binding in half for the entire length of the binding. I'm going to leave about maybe 10-12 inches. Just fold it over here, and I'm going to start stitching. Just using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'm going to put the entire binding on. Now I've got the raw edges against the raw edges, and I'm doing a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now when you're coming close to the end, you can stop stitching about a 1/4 inch before the end. Then we will turn and flip. Quarter inch away, do a little back stitch. Cut and remove the threads. Now we're going to take this binding, we are going to flip it on an angle. So this line all the way across matches up. So we flipped it on an angle, and then we're going to fold it back, straight back over your fingers so that it's straight lined up. And that's how you turn the corner. Now I'm looking at how close together my edges are. I like to leave a good 12 inches in here between the first piece I started with and where I'm ending. So I will backstitch a little bit here just to end it off. Now we have to join these together. So there's all kinds of ways of doing this, but one of the most simple ways is to just overlap them and then cut one off, overlap them by the width of this, 2.5 inches. So you're going to overlap them by 2.5 inches. Cut this one right here. You're going to take these two that are overlapped, you're going to open them up, and you're going to stitch them right sides together. Okay, same as you did before. So I'm just going to put a little pin there to hold it. And what you want to do is fold the quilt so you have room to pull these out of the way and stitch them together. So open them up, right sides together, and again, just like you did before, you're going to sew point to point across the corner. Okay, now when you pull it together, it should line up perfectly. So we're going to open it up again, and we're just going to cut away that little bit of extra right there, about 1/4 inch away from my stitch line. Now that we have the whole binding on, we need to sew it on the other side. So I'm going to fold it over onto the front side. This flower side is my front. Got it sewn onto the back. You could totally glue this, no shade to the gluers. I know lots of people love to glue their quilts, their quilt bindings. So you put glue along the edge and you press as you go, and that holds it nice and securely. I don't have any glue, and I don't like sewing through glue. So I am going to pin it today. You could also use clips. Wonder clips are awesome, but I'm just going to pin it like every 3 or 4 inches around the quilt, and I'll be good to go. When I sew it, I'm just going to flip it over and stitch in the ditch, removing the pins as I go. I've got my fancy stitch in the ditch foot on, but you don't even need that. You could literally stitch in this ditch all the way. You have plenty of room because we did a 2.5 inch binding, so it's really more than 1/8 of an inch over where you need to be. You should be fine. You shouldn't slip off the edge. And we're done. So that was my Quilt Along With Me project for today. A super fun and easy whole cloth quilt. These types of quilts have gone viral, and there isn't even any piecing. I'm open to that if it gets you making your first quilt. Let me know in the comments, do you have a sewing machine and you've never used it? Pull that baby out. You can make this quilt. Please try it. You can't go wrong choosing just 2 fabrics, 2 gorgeous fabrics that you love, and you can make it any size. I made a little lap size quilt or baby size quilt for my pup, Luna. It'll keep her cozy in the back seat of the truck. But if you want to make a bigger quilt, buy about 1.5 meters or yards of each fabric, and it'll end up being about 40 by 60 inches once you're finished. If you've got questions, let me know in the comments. You've got this. Don't forget to subscribe. Get busy in your studio with me, the Quilter on Fire. See you next time for some more creative fire.